Hey everyone, I wanted to record a follow-up to my last video because I wanted to share something that's been really helpful for me as part of my own creative process. And it's this, it's knowing that quite often when we transition or when we create, it's going to be uncomfortable. And the reason for that is that we make up these ideas in our mind. Like our mind likes to box in and compute cause and effect. And it likes to know what we're doing. And success is kind of, well, a lot of the time, success in creating new things, it appears to be random. I don't think it is as random as it appears to be. I think it's just how the mind interprets it. But often that's the problem. Like the mind is sitting there wanting to go and understand where things lead. And at the minute, I don't think that we can make those computations. I think especially nowadays, like there's so much uncertainty and so much that is in transition that trying to work out why you would do certain things or how you would create certain things, like good luck with that. Just look at what happened to people's plans in 2020. Like how many people had these grand plans for what they were going to do in 2020 and then COVID happens and the whole thing just went kind of crazy. Like that shows that we need to be able to be more in the moment and to create. And many people did respond in that way. And that's how it looks to me. Now, it was probably it was very uncomfortable for many of us. Not least because of what the planet went through, but because suddenly we're all having to adapt. Suddenly we're all having to see new ways of being in the world and to start trusting our nudges to do things in different ways. And I remember for myself, it was deeply uncomfortable to go through that process. And yet what allowed me to do it? Well, I knew the discomfort was safe. I knew that that's just what arises when we start being moved to do something and we violate the box that our mind has made up about who we are and what we do and how it's going to work out. But I also knew there's energy in those nudges. I knew that from experience. And there was a book, I was talking to a friend earlier about this. There's a book I remember reading years and years ago. I'll stick it in the description once I remember the full title, but I think it's called Click Moments or The Click Moment or something like that. I'll stick it in the link when I've done the video. But I remember reading this book and it was all about how people created cool stuff and successful things. And it was not at all what you'd expect. Like, chance encounters that someone had in a coffee shop or at a party or, out for a walk and, seeing something in a shop window and suddenly getting inspiration about something they could do from that. Like that's often how things get created. And what was interesting about it was it started talking about what happened when people tried to reverse engineer other people's ways of creating successful things, and it never ever worked. Why is that? Well, there's an energy before our intellect that moves our bones, and our intellect doesn't like that. It complains. It wants to know how things fit together, and it cannot. For many people at the minute, I see people being paralyzed by this because they're trying to use their mind to fit together things that the mind cannot possibly fit together. It's not capable of doing it. So it requires us to go through the discomfort of that process as the mind objects to what we do, but to also come alive to the fact that there is energy and intelligence to the nudges and the things that you want to do. Like I've got it at the moment, there's something that I'm really enjoying playing with. I can see possibly that it might have some kind of outcome that would lead to a useful place that my mind goes, okay, there might be some use to it. But there's another part of me that's going, well, what about this? And what about that? And there are things that I'm playing with those things. They feel like old things at the moment. And I get to a point of doing something with them and then go, oh, there's just no energy there. I don't feel it. And then I get in a real funk about it because I go, well, I want to play with the thing that excites me and the thing that I'm just enjoying doing, even though I can't see where it leads. Well, I have enough experience in me to see that there is power and energy when you follow those nudges. And I think that's the invitation that many of us who are in transition or who may feel stuck at the moment, that's what we're invited to see more of, like to see the intelligence in the nudges and to see that we're okay in the discomfort of our mind objecting to what we're doing. So that's what I'd offer for you guys today. Like, where in your life have you done something that you couldn't see where it was leading, and yet later you saw that it led to something? And what makes you think you can't go through the discomfort of trying those new things and following those nudges and doing the things that you enjoy, but you can't see how they make sense yet? That's the point, yet. You never see it. That's what I said in the last video. You never see it looking forward. You only ever see it looking backwards. But it requires us to come alive to that energy. It also requires us to start to see that we can be uncomfortable. Think about something you tried that was new to you. Like, it probably felt incredibly uncomfortable when you first started doing it. But yet, at some point, the more you did it, the mind went, oh, okay, yeah, this is something we now do. And you settled down about it. And now you can do it with more ease. Well, that's what this is all about. You're transitioning. You're becoming a new version of yourself. That upsets the mind's concept of who it thinks you are. But that doesn't mean it can't adapt to a new one. It does all the time. And if you look back, you'll see you probably had multiple identities that your mind has made up over time. You probably aren't a lot of them now. You're something new. That means you can adapt. That means your mind can adapt. It requires you to see, though, that there's a bit of discomfort as that adaptation process occurs. So just a little reflection. Hope that's helpful. Lots of love. Take care. Bye.